वहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनम्। इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे कृपया पारे पाहि मुरारे। प्रत्याचर्पटविरचितग्रन्थः पुण्या पुण्यविवर्जितपन्थः। योगी योगनियोजितचित्तो रमते बालोन्मत्तवदेव। कस्त्वं कोऽहं कुतायातः कामे जननी को मे तातः। इति परिभावय सर्वमसारं विश्वं त्यक्त्वा स्वप्नविचारम्। त्वयि मयि चान्यत्रैको विष्णुः व्यर्थं कुप्यसि मय्यसहिष्णुः। भवसमचित्तः सर्वत्र त्वं वाञ्छस्य चिराद्यदि विष्णु त्वम्। शत्रौ मित्रे पुत्रे बन्धौ मा कुरु यत्नं विग्रहसन्धौ। सर्वस्मिन्नपि पश्यात्मानं सर्वत्रोत्सृज भेदाज्ञानम्। कामं क्रोधं लोभं मोहं त्यक्त्वात्मानं पश्यति सोऽहम्। आत्मज्ञानविहीना मूढा ते पच्यन्ते नरकनिगूढः। येयं गीता नाम सहस्रं ध्येयं श्रीपतिरूपमजस्रम्। ज्ञेयं सज्जनसङ्गे चित्तं देयं दीनजनाय च वित्तम्। सुखतः क्रियते रामा भोगः पश्चादन्तशरीरे रोगः। यद्यपि लोके मरणं शरणं तदपि न मुञ्चति पापाचरणम्। अर्थमनर्थं भावय नित्यं नास्ति ततः सुखलेशः सत्यम्। पुत्रादपि धनभाजां भीतिः सर्वत्रैषा विहिता रीतिः। प्राणायामं प्रत्याहारं नित्यानित्यविवेकविचारम्। जाप्यसमेतसमाधिविधानं पूर्ववधानं महदवधानम्। गुरुचरणाम्बुजनिर्भरभक्तः संसारादचिराद्भवमुक्तः। सेन्द्रियमानसनियमादेवं द्रक्ष्यसि निजहृदयस्थं देवम्।
Who are you? Who am I? From where have I come? Who is my mother? Who is my father? Thus inquire, having renounced the entire world as essenceless, born of imagination. We discussed about the analogy between the dream world and this waking world, and we said this verse in Bhaja Govindam is a very highly philosophical verse. What Vedanta says is that if you consider your dream world to be an imagination, then you have no further reason to believe that this world is anything more real than that. Be very careful in this understanding. If you consider dream world to be an imagination, you have no further reason or a different proof, a different kind of proof to prove that this world is any more real. The masters are not directly talking about this world to be a figment of illusion as far as the sadhakas are concerned. They are only giving us a indication as to how our inquiry should be. In other words, this type of inquiry must be kept at the back of the mind so that our involvement in the world is slowly reduced. For that purpose only it is. Otherwise, any amount of proof that you give for the reality of the dream world, which we dismiss upon waking up now as an imagination, like that we cannot give any further proof for this. You talk about the sound that is produced in the dream, or sound that is produced here, which is real. The same type of sound came in the dream also, when you were tapping there. You talk about everybody seeing the same sun or moon or any other aspect of the world. It is not only me. Everybody is seeing that. Now, when you go into your dream world, there were many people and all of them were seeing the same sun or the same moon in the dream. That it does not make it any more real. Now we have come out of the dream where we do not know where that sun is or where that moon is. Like that, if you are able to analyze any aspect of this, it has a parallel. Only difference is that also having waken up only we will know that the time, space and causation aspect of this world is much more solid, much more perfect. Distance between two places is always the same. The weight of a particular molecule or atom is always the same. The combination of two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen to form a molecule of water is always the same. So you will find that time, space, causation, all these aspects in this world is solid. Dream world has its own time, space, causation, which is not as solid as it is now. When it was being experienced, there was no problem with it. Only when you wake up, you understand that that was a different kind of experience. You may go out of your house and suddenly go into Himalayas. There's no concept of that space here. But in dream, that could be the space. Or you will suddenly, cut one potato and make something else out of it. All this is possible. There's no perfect cause and effect relationship that you can say there. But there is some causation. There is some space. There is some time. All this is there. So time, space and causation is there also. Time, space and causation is here also. Because this is perfect here, it seems much more solid. That's about all. There was another angle of a clarification a student brought about in terms of difference between dream world and this world. One of the names that is given to this world, the world that we inhabit here, is called as Martya Loka. Martya Loka means the Loka of death. If we carefully analyze, death and birth are possible only in this Loka. That is why it is called as Martya Loka. whether it is other lokas, whatever we can imagine as heavens above, hell below, or even dream and other worlds that we go through, they are also realms of experience. They are also called as lokas. Loka is the word Sanskrit, means realm of experience. But this person, it's an intelligent clarification that he asked that we experience death here, we experience birth here. Do we experience the same thing in dream also? Because when we get up from the dream, we know now that we created the dream in a matter of seconds or minutes. And in that, you are 40-year-old or 50-year-old experiencing the dream. But you did not go through 40 years step by step there. It was just within 2 minutes with reference to this time. But in the dream, you could account for those 40 years. In the dream, you could account for your father, mother and all other relationship, their birth certificate also you may have, or their parents, which is your grandparents. Like that, the chain can go. So what is the difference, or what is the reconciliation? It is not a big deal. If you carefully analyze, it is the same thing. Here also, we don't experience our death, isn't it? We can experience to the extent that we are in the deathbed maybe. We are experienced where the last thoughts and all are going through our mind, being in that status. Exactly the same way as on a daily basis, you can go to sleep and think about falling asleep, and those thoughts which are running in your mind before sleep, that's all you can imagine. Experience of sleep is not cognizable for you in this waking state. It is not possible. It is exactly like that. Similarly, after you are born, you experience the world. That's about all. Giving birth is somebody else's experience actually. It's mother's experience that is the given. So, even in the dream, maybe you are working in a hospital, you can see somebody else's birth, somebody else's death. All this is possible. But as far as we are concerned, we call this a Martyaloka in this reason only, that the perfection of the law of causation that it functions here, it takes you desire to desire step by step. So there is a beautiful systematic rhythmic aging process. So therefore these 5 metamorphic changes of birth, growth, disease, decay, death, all this is perfectly synchronized. So birth and death is a phenomenon of this world in that sense. Plus what happens when your desires are unfulfilled, you are going to take further birth in the later period of time. So therefore birth and death cycle is part and parcel of this world where you can continue your sadhana. So in that sense, this loka is different from other lokas. This loka is also realm of experience. Only difference that we are given here is that you have a chance to put in an effort and see what the next level of consciousness is. It is not possible in any other loka, including Swarga loka, which are higher lokas. Higher lokas in the sense, they are higher realms of experience, but they are meant for your enjoyment. After your enjoyment, you have to come back here to do the sadhana. Similarly, when you go through other realms of experience like hell below, that is also you have to go through. All based on your fruits of your action. You have no choice but to go through that. Having finished all those things, you are given an opportunity in this world to do that sadhana. You can say that is the only difference. But as far as the reading of experiences is concerned, there is no difference whatsoever in the dream world and the waking world. So Vedanta asks us to just examine this. So if you are able to examine your own dream world and come to a conclusion that it was a figment of imagination, just think along those lines. This world is not as real as you give it a face value to it. That is the point here. As far as we are concerned now, our identification with the body is what is driving our experiences. Body is real. My hunger is real. My emotional requirements are real. Therefore, this world is real, is what my belief is now. Therefore, play according to the rules of the game here. But in order for you to not get involved completely, Don't get involved completely in this. Keep this inquiry at the back of the mind. Because if this inquiry is not there, we will get too involved in this, by which we will bind ourselves in this experience more and more. There will be sort of no redemption to it. So for that, this verse is given. Inquire as to who am I? Who are you? Where have I come from? Where have I come from means what is my source? Before this birth, where I was. Then you go into the inquiry of who is my father, who is my mother, who is my first father. If you go like that, you will find that exactly the same type of thing what we have can come to a conclusion in the dream, we can come here. So in other words, from our angle, when you are in the dream, you saw that the dream was beginningless. Dream was actually beginningless. But when you wake up now, you for sure know the dream ended. This is a very strange phenomenon. It was sort of beginningless, but it actually ended. Exactly like that. This world, you go into the inquiry, in terms of scientifically trying to establish it, you will go around in circles. It is said to be beginningless. But in the same way, we can take a positive thing that this samsara can be ended. That is the sort of a strong resolution that we can take from this verse. So you go into this inquiry, he says, having renounced the entire world as essenceless, born of imagination. Essenceless means asaram. Asaram means in the fruit, when you crush the fruit, what you get as sar is the juice. Juice is the essence of the fruit. So, what we go through as relationship, what we go through as samsara, what we go through as motions, actions, everything, you go through it, but the essence of it is actually the self. Per se, there's no sar or essence in the world. This must be the inquiry here. Very practical verse in terms of our contemplation. Yeah.
Can anyone get self-realization in dream state?
What is the definition of self-realization?
He gets a jnana that I am not in the part of this dream. I am separate from dream, like drashta sort of thing.
Correct.
Ultimate is not that you drashta.
So, self-realization is transcending the state of consciousness to the next state of consciousness. From dream, the equivalent of self-realization is only waking up, nothing else. So it is the second state, as it were, it's a lower state with vis-a-vis this waking state is concerned. Deep sleep is the lowest, where there is no thoughts at all, it is blankness. Then comes the dream state. So, in a dream state, a person can only transcend and come to the waking state. Now, going through these three states of consciousness is very mechanical and very effortless. In the sense, that's the plan of nature. So, self-realization is not possible from dream state. Self-realization is possible only from waking state.
That's a major difference then between dream and...
As far as dream is concerned, that is self-realization. And point is, here we are again talking about experience in the dream. There is no experience of self-realization here. There is no experience of self-realization in the dream. Experience is how you look at the world and how you view the world, how you experience the world. There's no difference between dream and waking. That's why I said even with reference to death, we will not, you may go excruciating pain in the dream, but actual death is not there. That is why if you watch the movie Inception, it is a good attempt, but there is a major flaw in the movie. If you not a major flaw, couple of flaws. It goes again the very principle. There they say you die in the dream and then you go to the next plane of consciousness, and that thought is put deep into that heroine's mind, and she carries that thought in the waking state. So she undergoes a voluntary death experience in this world, so that she thinks she'll be transported somewhere else. This is her belief. This thought was put into her very deep, So that doesn't happen. So the experience of death is also not there. So where's the question of realization? In other words, realization is not, first of all, an experience. That is the point. Realization is transcending of experience. So there is no question of comparison between waking and dream in this aspect.
We say that we cannot experience our death. But many times, it's a correlative thing that people see that they have died in that in that dream world they have died. and then they are seeing people carrying him onto the cremation ground and other thing, and then they realize the futility that all these things is happening, and suddenly in the dream when they get up, they continue all get a chance to think that this entire world is all futile and all, and I must forgive this and forgive that and all, and get some type of experience in.
You mean to say people experience their death in the dream?
Yes.
No, I don't know. This
It has come in various places where they have said that when the people he sees his death, and then people are carrying him on the stretcher to that cremation ground and dying and talking about different aspects.
See, one minute. One thing you remember, when you are dreaming, you are a dream personality, the dream subject. The dream subject is actually experiencing the dream world. Okay? When the dream subject, if he is conscious of those people carrying him and going in on the whatever you call it to the cremation guard, he is still not dead. People have believed him to be dead. Maybe he himself is sleeping and going, or whatever, he is lying down and going. But that is not a death experience. That is a totally different thing. Remember one thing, in death you cannot experience anything unless otherwise you have seen it in some form or other in the waking state, because it is undigested thought flow of that. That's about all. And it's all based on your vasanas that it will experience. So it is not possible for a person to die in the dream and somebody else is seeing it and then he again wakes up. These are pure imaginations, nothing else. Yes, sir.
In the previous lecture, you mentioned about this dream and the waking state, where you said, if I'm correct, you mentioned that Swamiji has said that if you are able to remember the whole dream as is in the waking state, then you will self-realize now and here and now.
Yeah.
I didn't really get to understand.
What it means is, see, the play of the nature is that the moment we wake up from the dream, we immediately forget the dream. Forget in the sense, we don't, it is not that we consciously, it is like fading away of a memory in our waking state. Of course, it's different in degree, but what happens is that as you wake up, it is gone. It's just gone. What we remember of dream is the last portion of the last dream and maybe any other which is little more powerful. That's about all. If it is really startling you or powerful enough, that it will carry on for a longer time. Otherwise, that's why I said it's really hard to believe, but the experiments in science are saying that we go through many dreams in a single night also. But we remember the last portion of the last dream just before waking up. This is our experience. What Swamiji says is, if you are able to remember, that is where the example of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa we said, a salt doll being immersed within the ocean, it dissolves immediately. You don't even see one aspect of it. As quickly it dissolves, like that our dream dissolves. This is the analogy. So what Swamiji said is, if you are able to vividly recall and remember the dream and experience it in your imagination with the same solidarity with which you were experiencing the dream. When you went through the dream, it was so solid. It was step by step very solid, and the pain, the joy, the relationship, all that we experienced in the same dream was so real. With that same intensity, if you are able to remember in the waking state, then you will be instantly self-realized, he says. Our understanding of what this is if your mind carries that type of a vividity of the dream world and you are able to carry that type of a solid experience in your mind of the dream, actually what happens is that that solid seeming world that is there in the front of your eyes here, they begin to lose their solidarity. So instantly what happens is that you begin to suspect the very solidarity of this world itself. So therefore somebody has pulled the carpet from under your feet. So that way he says instantly you are self-realized. It has to be philosophically taken. It will give you that type of a jnana immediately to look at this world in a totally different perspective. That's what it means. We are carrying on with our gunas and continuity with our vasanas in this world because firmly we believe that the dream is unreal, the dream is imagination, but this world is solid. That is what is actually making it continue. That type of a vivid experience, recalling of that experience, totally shatters this perception, he says. But it's a plan of nature that we don't experience that way. That's why he says, if you are able to do it like that, then it's a totally different perspective altogether. When King Janaka, he was able to do it. That's why he was a jnani. He underwent an experience that he was a beggar, and he suddenly woke up and he called the people and called his courtiers and wise people and asked whether that was real or is this real. Whether he's a beggar who is now dreaming to be the king, or whether he is the king who dreamt as a beggar. This type of, he was able to capture that, he was able to catch that, and he was able to distinctly apply that principle into this world, and he was able to see a different thing. So he raised this question immediately, and he went on to realize the self, or he was a jnani. That is how it will work. But for most of us, that is not the case. This is the attachment to this body and this world is the base on which we function. So we dismiss the dream. Dismiss means we don't bring into analysis at all. We don't. Only in a class like this, because of Vedanta, we are discussing dream. Otherwise, who discusses dream? Who discusses deep sleep? We only look in terms of when will I sleep? When will I get some rest? Or if at all I had a sweet dreams, good night. All this is the words that we use for children. That's about all. Otherwise, who goes into this analysis at all? The whole idea is that dream is dismissed. That's all. It is not even brought into our cognition or into our conscious discussion. Vedanta asks us to examine it. That's all it is.
So this was not an intellectual inquiry from King Janaka. It was an experiential inquiry.
It is based on that he was able to bring it out through his intellect only. It is an intellectual inquiry based on his reading of the experience. To that extent must be the depth of the study of the life. That's what it is.
So in certain cases, sometimes people do have, let us say, a very bad dream. Let us say you experience the death of a loved one, and you wake up and that emotion is still very strong for some time at least, So the power of that dream is carrying through in this waking state. That experience also people have from time to time.
Right.
But that is then different. How is it different from...
When you wake up, what do you say? Oh, thank God you are still alive. That's all you say. So what does it mean? You are giving all the reality to the person who is sleeping next to you, and not to the person who you underwent as who is dead in the dream. That's all I am saying here. You are giving solid reality to this world. But it could be the opposite experience. It could be that she is not here now. In the dream you are experiencing her. We don't then give it that type of impact or effect. So all that we are saying is that you are giving a solidarity to this world, a reality to this world, vis-a-vis some other experience which is as treated as imagination. Vedanta says you have no further reason to believe this to be any more real. That's all. Having understood this, don't go about talking about, when I say talking, not as a frivolous concept that this world is an illusion or something. As I said, as long as you are part and parcel of this world, you have to play by the rules of this, but with an intention to get out of this world. That must be the thing. So you are in it and out of it. That must be the attitude of a seeker. The world is given as a place for sadhana. This body is given as an instrument for doing the sadhana. So by using these instruments, you have to get out of the experience. That must be the attitude.
See, after self-realization also you are living in this world and everything cause and effect, everything is functioning. If you get bitten by an insect, you still feel the pain. The only thing is, what is the difference there? When we say we have to get out of this world and this experience, we cannot get out of this experience unless we are dead.
See, the thing is that the self-realized person is also going through the insect bite and pain and whatever he is going through. It is again from our point of view. See, there is what is known as this drishtikon, or from which standpoint, perspective you are looking at it. So, from the perspective of the, so that is why you take the other extreme examples also. When let's say Paramahamsa went through certain disease, or Ramana Maharshi was operated upon, they did not feel the pain.
Ramakrishna did feel
the pain.
He did complain about the terrible pain.
When somebody asked him as to how his throat was, he had cancer or something, he said, I'm going through pain. Then who was the chele next to him? He said, but you are already in the bliss. You are already in infinite bliss. This rascal has caught me, he says. So
yeah, even then he would go into samadhi. Like from time to time he would get into that bhava samadhi. But he did complain of pain.
That's what it is. Now the point is, as long as you see Ramakrishna Paramahamsa moving in that body, his body going through certain motion is again from our perspective, I am saying. If you go into the perspective of the samadhi state which he was in, where is the body, where is the pain, where are people around? Even in the state, we saw that Ramate Bala Unmattavateva, like a madman. At that point of time, what he is going through, if you are able to get into his standpoint of view, what he sees and what this thing and what you see are totally two different things. So therefore, from his standpoint, where is actually the world? Vishwam Tyaktva Swapna Vicharam is actually very real and practical for them. Yet, they seem to continue in the body for us, and their continuing in the body seems to help us in terms of various other services. A plan of nature, how it has kept, is only to make sure that there is a link between the state of self-realization and this state. That's about all is our explanation. But say for example, now you take the same thing in the dream. Suppose you are dreaming about Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Let's say you had met him in Dakshineshwar and he came and you are dreaming. He will be still there. When he is in the dream, he is not, one more Ajnani or something. As far as you are concerned, you go to him again as a Jnani only. But how is he continuing in the dream? It was entirely your projection as far as that dream is concerned. Similarly, in the totality of the projection, here a Jnani may be moving around with his body. It is looked at from our perspective only. So from his perspective, only Brahman exists.
Let's say that his realm of experience at that state is totally different from what we are experiencing. He also lives in the world. He also has emotions. But his experience is a totally different thing.
Again, we are saying two things. His realm of experience is different. He is also living in the same world. The same world when you are seeing, what is this world? This world is defined according to your thoughts. This world is defined according to your emotions. So therefore, when he say he is actually in the experience of Brahman only. He is actually seeing Brahman. He is actually experiencing Brahman, nothing else, which you call as world. Then you are seeing everything happening in this world. So it's a two different experiences altogether. That's why in the Gita it says, that which is night for you is day for him. And like that is the experience. Therefore, self-realized master continuing in this lifetime is a plan of nature for the blessing or for the grace of the...
Yeah, he used to say it's for Loka Siksha.
Loka Sangraha. So as long as you are concerned, this Loka is functioning, it has its own rule of demand and supply, and he fits into that demand and supply. That's about all. But from his standpoint, if you see, it's only experiencing the self everywhere. It's a totally different realm altogether.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a different realm of experience for him and for us, right?
Correct. What he sees, actually Brahman only is. He sees it as it is. We are seeing something else. That is the thing. So that is why
plurality, he is just seeing the unity.
That's all it's. That is why we say that this world is not created by God, Brahman. This world is Brahman. The world is Brahman. The Brahman alone is his point of view. World alone is our point of view. It's only the one and the same. That's the difference.
Can I disturb, sir? In this context, when we are talking that he is seeing oneness, is he seeing, does the Prakriti concept come in over here? No, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
No. We'll chant verse 24 twice.
त्वयि मयि चान्यत्रैको विष्णुः व्यर्थं कुप्यसि मय्यसहिष्णुः भवसमचित्तः सर्वत्र त्वं वाञ्छस्य चिराद्यदि विष्णु त्वम् त्वयि मयि चान्यत्रैको विष्णुः व्यर्थं कुप्यसि मय्यसहिष्णुः भवसमचित्तः सर्वत्र त्वं वाञ्छस्य चिराद्यदि विष्णु त्वम्.
In you, in me, and elsewhere pervades the one reality Vishnu. In vain you are angry with me, being impatient. Render your mind equanimous at all times if you are keen on the state of Vishnu. In the previous verse, he asked us to inquire certain fundamental questions. So, if you trace back, we said that you cannot go into find out who your first father is. So then when we keep on inquiring like this, we understand that the I that we refer to is actually something other than what we think we are. In other words, this diagram is there in Vedanta treatise and other books. This I is there. This I is, you say I see, I hear, I taste, I touch, I smell. So this I is undergoing various experiences here. All these experiences are totally different, but all of them seem to be connected to the same I. See, it is the nose that smells. But when you say I smell, that means I is connected somewhere to the nose, and it is the same I which is connected to the same this thing. So when you say connected to the nose, connected to this, there is something else apart from all these things which is getting connected to this. Similarly, when you say with the mind, I feel. With the intellect, you say I think. Feeling is different, thinking is different, and they are different from these experiences of the body. Yet, that is connected to the same I. All these experiences are connected to this I. You take different stages of life. I am a child, I am a boy, I am a youth, I am a man, I am an old man. All these are also different. Different body, different mind, different intellect. I mean, your cells, everything is replenished at the body level. Your thoughts, your mind, your desires, ideas, ideologies, everything is different. But you connect it to the same I. That means it is different from all these things. Something which is getting connected to all these things is something separate from all these things. Similarly, on a daily basis, waking, dream, deep sleep, different states of consciousness. All these things are something connected to I, something like attribute to I, but it is not the real I. I seem to possess the body, mind and intellect. I seem to be the changeless entity in and through all these changes. So if you are able to inquire like this, then you have to find out as to the what is the true answer. So who are you or who am I? Ultimately, it has to lead to that same answer. And that answer he is indicating in this verse. He says, in you, in me and elsewhere. Sarvatra. Pervades that one reality called Vishnu. So very clearly what he says is, in you, in me, everywhere. That means he asked us to ask this question, who are you, who am I? When you go to the answer, finally he says, the essence in you, the essence in me, the essence everywhere. Everywhere means in every other being, everywhere else, whatever you can think of in nature, whatever it is. The essence is called as Vishnu. In fact, this term Vishnu, you can take it to mean as the Trinity God Mahavishnu also, which is not wrong, but it is the same thing. Vishnu means all-pervading reality. Have you heard this famous Ganesh slok? Shuklam Vardaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam. There also Vishnu comes. So how is Ganesha Vishnu? Ganesha is also the same all-pervading reality. In fact, in that mantra, if you take all the terms that are given there till the last, you will not find it that it is invoking Lord Ganesha. Sarva Vigno Upashantaye. The Lord of all clearance of all obstacles is Lord Ganesha. So Sarva Vigno Upashantaye. When you say that, when you begin with anything, that any obstacle that comes into this pursuit, may Lord Ganesha bless us by helping us to cross over these obstacles. Otherwise, Shuklam Bardram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam, a person of white complexion who is wearing a white cloth, Prasanna Vadanam. This is all, Prasanna Vadanam means a very smiling face, a very happy face. This all applies to maybe any god for that matter. So there the term Vishnu comes. Vishnu means all-pervading reality. And then he says, why am I not able to find it? In you, in me, everywhere it is there. He says, Vyartam kupyasi mayasya shishnuhu. The moment a guru comes into our life and he says, you are essentially the self. In you, the indestructible reality is the self. Oh, Vizal, thank you. I'll immediately find it. We immediately, and you have given me the great formula because you say that is the abode of ultimate peace. That is what my real nature is. That is what is real happiness. So unnecessarily I am looking here and there. Now I have found the answer. Thank you. I have to immediately find it. So what we become is impatient, and then we get frustrated in the spiritual path. It is not to discourage us, but it is not as simple, meaning don't oversimplify it. Don't cheapen it. You are getting angry with the master when he says, not really, he's pointing to it may be the Shastras. I'm reading Gita for 10 years, nothing is happening. I'm doing this sadhana, I'm going to this temple, I don't seem to go anywhere. And then all this is, fake, bogus. Life is given for you to enjoy, just enjoy. Let us see at the end of the life or, beyond it all, what happens. This sort of sometimes a frustration comes. Or I put in all the effort, I dedicatedly worship God. When it comes to success, somebody else gets it. And I see him an atheist. He is not worshipping God at all. All this confusion comes. So we become impatient and the bottom line of this is that we become result oriented. And therefore, he says, don't become impatient. We need to be patient at least or only till the time when we are able to get ourselves firmly rooted in the path. Now, why we are saying this is, once you have started enjoying the real path itself, you will not waver. See, all that our mind seeks is joy only, right? Now, if there is a guarantee of a better joy, and mind will automatically go there. Why is not mind able to take to spiritual path immediately? Because mind always looks for instant joy. So, after a while, if let's say a person does not get joy out of alcohol, he goes for something else, or a little more of it, or a little deeper variety of it. If he is not able to get joy out of a particular company, then he extends his company or expands his way of sightseeing or whatever it is. So, but what mind wants is instant gratification or instant joy. As far as the true joy is concerned, true sattvic happiness is concerned, it will begin as a poison. This is the law. What is going to give you long-term happiness has to be like a poison in the short term. Now, don't inquire as to why this is how it is. The reason could be that so long that our mind is used to only short-term joy. And here is something which says you have to put in, effort. It is not able to immediately get it. So that period of time is, you can call as poison. But that is a definite and necessary price that we need to pay if we have to make that U-turn. You have to. That is sort of a firm resolve you have to take. And it is a matter of time where you will cross over this period. Then actually your mind will enjoy the path itself. The type of joy that you will probably get in spiritual path is far, far more superior in quantity and quality vis-a-vis all the sense contact born pleasures. But you have to give that time, and then again we must not set into any complacency mode. You have to carry on, because it's a lifetime journey. By Guru's grace, by God's grace, we will achieve it. But never be impatient. Krishna shows in one of his leelas that he is not drinking milk when his mother is giving him milk as a child. He is not drinking. So in order to make him drink, the mother says, only if you drink milk properly, your hair will grow. So he immediately takes the milk and drinks a little, and he touches his head to see whether the hair grows. And he says, what are you saying? Hair is not growing, he says. So Krishna only mirrors human pursuits as to who want instant gratification. And this is a sort of a benchmark or a thumb rule that you can take in for any sort of worldly experience also. If you want to, a person is on a diet program and want to reduce his weight, or if he wants to, take care of his consistent headache or something that comes, you cannot just pop in a pill and you say it's all gone. Its symptom is temporarily subdued. But you have to go to the root cause of the problem and take it out. Whether what is causing that, whether it's a tumor, or whether you go through exercise to reduce the fat in your body and get into shape, whether you go through certain process of pranayama and other thing to rectify the deficiency in your lungs, all this is going to really take time, but all this is taking step by step towards something permanent. If we can see this happening in physical level, you have to give that much time as far as the opening up of Atma is concerned. Physical body to develop, it takes 9 months, 10 months. Mind to develop, it takes few years. After the child is born, when does it start really getting the proper emotions? Couple of years it takes, 3-4 years. Intellect to develop, it takes 16 years. That is why the proper education must be 12 to 16 years of study. In the present system of education also, after the 10th standard, the student is supposed to choose a course which he is going to study in the senior secondary, then probably go into higher education, and his career is dependent on that. At that point of time, therefore, he is supposed to think carefully and discriminate and select, this is the course. Therefore, the education at that point of time must have molded his intellect and brought it to such a level that it can decide. So, for that development, or rather that is the true education, it takes about that much time. Now, to develop clarity of intellect, it takes so much years. I mean, when we put in consistent effort, and if it is the correct way of education that we go through. Now, here we are talking about finding that same Vishnu in you and me, which is the opening up of Atma. We may listen to Bhagavad Gita again and again. We may listen to Vedantic principles, which is saying Tattvamasi again and again. Even, I think, in the Chandogya Upanishad, where this statement Tattvamasi comes, the moment once he says Tattvamasi, that the boy should have grasped it. Who's the student there? Shvetaketu. Shvetaketu has finished all the studies and he's come back. And he's sitting haughtily in the front of his house as though he knows everything. So, his father is asking, have you learnt everything? Yes, father, I have learnt everything. Then he puts a question as to, have you learnt that by which, that knowing which you will know everything else? Have you learnt that? He is now confused. Then he understands there is some still deficiency in his learning. And the father is slowly leading him to the ultimate self. And he says, Tat Tvamasi, that you are. He gives various examples. And finally he says, that you are. Again he gives various examples and finally says, that you are. If once he has said and once he understands, he must have immediately realized that doesn't happen. Even for a prepared student at that stage, time and again the master has to say it again and again and again till it becomes part and parcel of the system. We are talking about a well prepared student of Upanishad. In the present Kali Yuga where we are and what state of mind where we, in fact, most of us, even people are approaching Vedanta. I'm not saying it's wrong, practical Vedanta in terms of how we can control our mind and dedicate ourselves in achievement of success and, you maintain harmonious relationship. These are all the various, you can say within quotes, benefits of pursuit of Vedanta. This is what we are looking at. Where is that state and where are we going to reach this state where he is finally saying that ultimately in you and in me, everywhere it is only one Vishnu. So he says, don't be impatient. Give its own time. Don't be anxious. See, we are only impatient only when we become result oriented. The whole idea of Vedanta is not to be result oriented. Even in Gita, there's a message. Your right is to do the duty, not on the fruits of action. So, not giving up this fruit of action is not with reference to only the fruits of action that accrue from the world. It is this fruit also, if you call this a fruit. That self-realization also, forget it. I mean, don't be very anxious about that fruit also. In due course of time, it is going to come. You start employing yourself rightly in the path. And then what is the methodology for it? He says, Bhava samachitta sarvatratvam. You have to make your mind equanimous at all times. He says, Tvayi mayi anyatra. That means in you, in me, everywhere. If everywhere self is there, why are we asked to locate the self within you? Why cannot I locate it in others? Why cannot I locate it in somewhere else? In a temple? In Himalayas? Why am I not recommended to look for God there and realize the self there? Somehow catch it there. But everywhere it is said, go within you, catch it there. The self is within you. But the truth is, self is everywhere. Why is it always said, catch within and not without? It's not outside. Meaning it, you cannot do it outside. Why? It is in ice cream also, definitely. It is in a movie theater also. It is the same self.
So it's like holding your nose like this or taking it around and hold.
It is so easy it is. Nice.
Because your self is within you, so it's closer. So hold it simplest.
Correct. But for us, the simplest thing is actually to go to a temple or a theater or whatever, your area of enjoyment. That's what we are sort of used to, isn't it? It is sit, meditate, close your eyes and try to find the self within. It's not very easy. Rather, you'll say, let me do some karma, let me do seva for others. That is more easy than to, do this sadhana.
Because the external attributes there in everything else will take off the focus from the core, the essence within,
Correct.
which is easier to find within.
See, the whole idea is, it is true that you can find the self anywhere and everywhere. When you start the pursuit of finding the self outside you, the very names and forms that you encounter make you forget the pursuit. See, in other words, a person, just for argument's sake, I'm saying, he says, I'm going to go all out into the party only to find the self. Okay, genuinely also let him try. But the moment he goes into the party or alcohol or club or wherever he goes, the very nature of the attraction and various other things makes him fall a prey at the level of the senses and the mind. In the process, he forgets the very purpose for which he started. So in other words, it is delusive outside. So therefore, what happens? When you are able to shut off all the reality and focus within, you are able to go beyond the layers of the body, mind and intellect. You have to find it within yourself only. Now here is a process which says how you must actually do it is, or how you will find it is, Bhava samachitta sarvatratva. Make your mind equanimous at all places, at all times. Whenever any stimulus come from the world and enters us, whenever our mind itself throws up certain desires, you carefully notice any of these circumstances, mind is agitated more and more as long as the thoughts of the world are occupying it more and more. Can anybody say that I was thinking of God too much, and I was totally agitated in that point of time? It is not possible at that point of time. You can say when you are meditating, thoughts of the world come and that agitates you. That's possible. When you are sleeping, take this example. When you are sleeping, there is absolutely no agitation at all. Okay. Just one moment before sleep, it is as good as sleep. Like in the trigonometry, we say theta tends to 0. Like that, you are going nearer and nearer to 0. Maybe a fiber or ray of thought, something is there. At that point of time, you can't say that your mind is agitated. Your mind is stressed. You cannot say that, even though you have not 100% gone off to sleep. So we see that whenever the thoughts are very few and far, the chances of agitation is not there actually. But when we wake up fully, the world and our vasanas, everything preoccupy ourselves, that there is a lot of thought. Then we have our samsara, our duties, our relationship, this, that, it plays in our mind in a very big way. So constantly it is like a lake which is having some disturbance or the other. So you will never find a placid Manasarovar type of a lake. Either there is some dissolved material in the lake deep within that is producing some gas, or wind is blowing and there is waves, or there are leaves and other dirts that are there. So constantly something or the other. So it is like our deep vasana which is gurgling out some disturbance in the lake of the mind, or the passions of likes and dislikes always oscillate the mind. Various negativities that comes and pours over it all the time. So in this type of a situation, how is it possible that you are able to see the reflection of yourself in the lake? It is not possible. So if you want to see the reflection of your face in the lake, it has to be absolutely tranquil and quiet. Therefore, there is no other bigger duty for you to keep your mind sort of calm in all circumstances. The question may arise, then what is it possible? Should I do it in office? Should I do it in home? If I do like that, what will happen? Who will discipline the child? Don't worry about all these things. Even if you want to do all those duties, if you want to create success in the office, make teamwork and work, at any point of time, your mind must remain equanimous. That is the basic fundamental prerequisite. If you want to teach others something, if you want to learn something, if you want to perform an art, if you want to do prayer, if you want to do actions properly, mind has to be equanimous. This is the law. The law of life is that the mind must be at rest. Body must be in action. For us, the opposite. Body is at rest. It doesn't move. But the mind is constantly acting. So, bhava samachitta sar. This is a practice also. This is obviously the highest state he is talking about, but it is a practice also. So, therefore, like what Swamiji says, you would have heard in this relationship lectures and other thing also. In order to maintain equanimity in relationship at home, or when you are dealing with your superior or inferior in the office or at home, with your maidservant, with your driver, never first get into any confrontational mode at all. They immediately, no, I'm sorry, you are wrong, I'm right, this sort of, and then it only further aggravates the situation. You are shouting further and that person is shouting, or there is frustration, or he or she may keep quiet according to the situation, according to the position. Somebody inferior may keep quiet, somebody superior may shout, and you may keep quiet. But that keeping quiet is only artificial keeping quiet of the outside. Internally, it's all frustration. He says, you have to keep the mind calm and then deal with the situation. The moment you keep the mind calm, what happens is that whatever is your intellect that is available, that pops up at that period actually. That is why intellect is associated with the sattvic guna of your personality. When you are sattvic, you think, you meditate, you contemplate, you reflect. All this is aspect of the sattvic mind. When your mind is agitated, you cannot sit and read properly. You cannot think properly. So keep it a point that at any given circumstance, now you have to practice it in a way that it is, what to say, relatively easy for yourself, in the sense you cannot frustrate yourself by constantly forcing yourself to be practicing this artificial equanimity and then taking out all the frustration out somewhere else. It will come like a volcano. I'm not suggesting that. I'm only saying that if you keep the spirituality and self-pursuit at the back of the mind and you are able to define the locus or basis of relationships, then you will not want to really get involved in anything and everything, which could be your own son, your own daughter, your own husband, wife, and these are very close. These are that's what he is going to say in the next verse. Next verse is a beautiful continuation of this verse. So based on that, you will not want to get you want to relate to the extent that it is required. That's about all. So if that is the background of our pursuit, then you can put in effort to keep equanimous mind at all points of time. In that equanimous state of mind, what manifests is the Atma that is there inside actually shines through. It is there. Deep within it is there. It is, wanting to shine through. It is all our dirt and other thing which is covering it. So make that mind calm, make that mind equanimous. It is going to automatically shine through. So the mind is agitated when it is extrovert. The mind is calm when it is introvert. So go within. Like Swamiji gives the example of, even though if the government of India is spread everywhere, in order to if you want to contact the government, you have to go to Delhi. You have to go to the capital, state capital, where it is there. Exactly like that. Though the all-pervading self is everywhere, in order to contact it, you have to go within. And that path becomes smooth. The path is that you have to keep the mind equanimous at all state. If you are keen on the state of Vishnu, when he says keen, in the Sanskrit verse, he says Vanchasi Achirat. Achirat means if you keep this practice going, Achirat, before long. We are saying now how long it will take to body to develop this much, mind to develop this much. Don't worry. Achirat, before long. Before you even realize, it will automatically come to you. This is the assurance that is given here. In you, in me, and elsewhere pervades the one reality Vishnu. In vain you are angry with me, being impatient. Render your mind equanimous at all times if you are keen on the state of Vishnu. Yes, sir.
We at times give example that if a man is, let's say, 70% realized, he can impart you a knowledge up to that level only. He cannot go any further. Correct. This is one side. The other side is we sometimes give example like there was a river flooded and some Bhaktins came there and they walked through the river by chanting the name of Lord, having full faith. So the master who is saying, or maybe there are times when we see that the master is not here, but he says something, the other fellow catches, he develops faith and he goes through, the master doesn't go through. Isn't this a controversy type of thing that a 70% master imparting knowledge to the 50% student and the student goes through and the master doesn't?
How do you say it is 50%? They are fully qualified student. That is why it is. Their mind is fully prepared. And is that one spark was required? That spark was given by that words. As far as that master is concerned, he is communicating the Shastras. He is communicating the truth. The impact of it is twofold. One is the extent with which powerfully it will come is based on his level of unfoldment. The level at which it will be taken in by the student is at the level at which he is opened up. So always our assumption is like this. But there could be a master who is there giving whatever level he is, but this student is just brimming and waiting. Some spark somewhere he gets and he is able to do. That is, the words that come through that master is not through that body, mind or intellect. As far as that student is concerned, the Atma Vidya is given. That's about it. We'll conclude with the bhajans.
Poornam Adah Poornamidam Poornat Poornamudachyate Poornasya Poornamadaya Poornamevavashishyate